Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about shielding your team. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, would you say that shielding the team from external interference that's an important part of being a good software engineering manager or team lead? Yes and no. I would say this. The thing that I see when this goes to an extreme, which I've dealt with people like this more than once, is that they border on incompetence to the point where they cause problems due to the zealousness of their belief in this principle, and the people who don't do it whatsoever has a lot of confusion and a lot of frustration within the team. And to me, the zealous one is the sort of person, it's similar to like you probably met people like that, guys, where there are people who are more in love with the words of, say, a law or a rule than they are actually than they understand what it's about. A classic one is like if you put up I don't know, a sign saying that you should always wash your hands, and you have washed your hands, and then you try to walk out and they haven't seen you wash your hands, they're going to say you should wash your hands. And you go, yeah, I already did it. Oh, but I didn't see you do it. But I have, like, you can see it, they're wet, they're like still clean. No, but I need to see you wash your, like, etc., etc. Like there are people who take things to the absolute extreme, and to run an efficient software team, it's about understanding what constitutes as a effective setup for the team, and what ecosystem are you dealing with, because if you don't do that, and I am very sorry to say that I have a few cases of that, where I've been dealing with team managers who are incompetent to the point where I will argue that they single-handedly are reducing, like they're costing millions in delays. I know that's a big claim, but this is the way I look at it. So what they've done in essence is that they've created one of those situations that I've talked about, where they are religiously defending themselves and very usually hostile towards other people because they have a lot of pressure on them, but at the same time they lack the competency within the team to actually fix that problem. It's sort of like imagine you have an individual you hire to do a job. It's like, I don't know, take a bad analogy, like imagine that you had a crossing guard or a border patrol person or someone who's going to check your passport, and they can't really read, and that's the only person who can do it, and the line just keeps on growing, and like all these people are getting frustrated because this person is not able to meet the demand, and they don't understand that this is an ineffective setup, right? But at the same time they're very defensive about it, like they're not going to change, like they're etc., etc. So someone from management would, in a sane world, go in and actually fix that sort of inefficiency. And that is what happens when you have incompetent tech leads or team leads or people who have this mindset, because what they will do is that they will create a systematic problem where they are more concerned about they following their rules rather than achieving results. In this specific instance, we have like the people in question, they don't actually have a technical background, which means that any request that goes to their team has to go through them. The problem is that they are not software developers, which means that nothing technical can ever get through to them, because it takes, and I'm not joking now, it took, I think they never actually started doing it, it took 5 months total in lead time, including meeting times, to define a story, a single story card for the team with the technical specification, because they never ever involve their software developers in the discussions, and the people who are defining everything are, as I said, like they have no technical knowledge, and they will not allow you to do anything besides go through this process. I had another one where like I was dealing with a dude who they pushed out one of the ops teams I worked with a few years back. The team, they pushed out a breaking change into the environments, and that basically blocked all the work that my team could do. And so I called up their product owner and said, dude, you guys, you created regression here. It's blocking all of us. You're gonna have to fix that. And then he basically says to me, well, yeah, but we're very busy now, and you don't have an SLA with us. And this is something like they basically just made that up. It's an internal team. Like they have no authority whatsoever. There's no contract, there's no nothing. We're literally sitting one room across. And so I asked, what do you mean an SLA? Yeah, we would have had to have a meeting, and we would have had to define like how fast do we need to support you, etc., etc. And I go, no, you come in and goddamn fix it. I got really frustrated with him, and I basically said, this is not up for discussion, my friend. You do not break the production systems for the other teams, blocking them from all work, and then say, no, we're going to fix it later because we have other stuff that's more important. I'm literally saying that you have caused a P1, like a priority 1 issue, which is only within your control to fix. Nobody else can do it. And everybody else has to basically sit and wait until you fix it in order to make any progress on their own work, which means that this is more priority. I don't care what you're doing. Short of you, I don't know, delivering a baby or saving somebody's life, this cannot wait. And so we argued back and forth, and I said, it's this. I mean, look at it from my perspective. If my team produces a critical software bug that takes down the whole website, do you think I can say, no, actually, well, we can look at that next week because the sprint is, like, we can add a story and add it, like, fix it in the sprint or something like that, because we're doing Scrum, and in Scrum we lock the sprint? No, this is like stupidity on the part of the engineering manager or the tech lead, which is, as I said, like it always comes back to the competency of the person who understands, and that is the balancing act between being able to shield your team but also meet the demands. Because the problem is, as I like to tell my product owners and so forth when they ask me about, like, can we improve our process, and I say there are things that you always have to understand, which is that you need to first and foremost understand how to effectively execute on work. Because if you are inefficient, all you can make up any rule you want, and it's still gonna hurt the company, or it's gonna hurt like your career, it's gonna hurt something. As I was saying with the guy who was locking everything down, he is literally in a position where he is locking down the rest of the entire company, and he's incapable of actually fixing the problem, but he doesn't care. And in a sane world, of course, the manager would step in, as I was saying, with the crossing guard or something like that, and basically fire this person, or like reshuffle the responsibilities so that this sort of thing doesn't happen, this blocker doesn't, like, or bottleneck doesn't appear. But the way that you solve it is, as I said, even if you take a really experienced, very competent person, that person has to make an assessment of the overall situation and understand, okay, my team is responsible for too much, or my team has, like, this is the fundamental dynamics of how my team works. A classic one, like my favorite team, which is always overworked, is the ops team, the DevOps teams or so forth. They are on constant support. And if you want to see usually there's always an extreme here, and unfortunately it's usually bad. If you want to see people overworked to the point where, like, it's hilarious how hard it is for them to manage all of the ad hoc requests they're getting, that's the ops team. Efficient management of tasks and tickets are critical in such a team, because the way that they are working requires this. It's like a rotation and always a question of priority. It's almost like the emergency room in a hospital. It's always something is always on fire, basically, for the vast majority of the time as an ops person in a very large company at the very least. And so, in order to fix that team can basically only do one thing. Well, one of two things, and the one is stupid, the other one is the one you should be doing. The stupid one is that you simply linearly scale the people. In other words, you just have to add more people so that they can do more and more stuff, and then, like, you manually add more and more people. But the sane way is that you have to look over the way that you're doing work and see how you can optimize and minimize the amount of time you have to spend on these sorts of tasks, and see if you can offload things to other teams, shuffle around the architecture, etc. So there are all of these design solutions that you can apply in order to not have this sort of issue, because I can promise you, most of the time when people are coming to a team, it's because they genuinely need something, and you should use backlogs, you should use priorities, and you should do all these sorts of things. things like as you do. And that is something you communicate to the team, but you also have to understand how to effectively apply this methodology. And when it's actually a question of that protecting the team is actually hurting the entire company. So what I want you to take away from this is that yes, on average, it's a good idea for you as a software team leader, so forth. I'm not saying protect your team, because you don't want to create this isolation mindset, which does happen. As I was saying in my little story, I can't even talk. My teammates and myself could not even talk to the other developers, which would have been a more efficient solution to this problem, because they are coders. They know what we're telling them. The manager doesn't know fuck all about this stuff, but is at the same time too stubborn and too set in this mindset and too incompetent to fix it. So we basically told our product manager, the only thing I could say, we can't solve this problem. And he's go like, what are you meaning we can't solve it? No, like I'm saying that we can technologically fix this. I can send the code to that team and it's going to be fixed. But I can't because of office politics and incompetence. This is what it comes down to. And nothing I do will change that fact. And so that extreme is what I'm warning you against. What I'm saying is that if you want to do your team a really solid favor, make sure that they have an organized work structure within their team, so they have a way to clearly know what they should always be prioritizing. Because you have to understand, guys, ad hoc things are going to come in. You can't just isolate everybody and say you only talk to that person or you only talk to this person. You have to have an open dialogue, because otherwise you create this really weird clan mentality. And trust me, guys, these isolation system, this way of isolating people, as I was talking about, it breeds resentment. It does. Working in silos and having like the us and them mindset in a company like that, it creates resentments to the point where I've seen stuff, guys, where like, you can ask and they won't even get back to you because they don't care if you get the reply or not, because it's not quote unquote their job to be helpful or to actually support you. And that is what happens when you breed that into a culture where you have these weird hierarchies. The thing that you want to fight is that you have people getting bothered all the time, or you're getting interrupted, etc., etc. And there are much easier ways to fixing that and than having like this religious mindset about you should protect your team, you should protect your guys. What it comes down to is understanding what is the need of the stakeholders around you, how can you offload as much as possible of that work from your team, and my personal favorite, create a support rotation, so you don't have to ask like the same people over and over so they never get anything done. Dedicate a person who is supposed to take care, like a goalie or like a support person or something like that, who can give answers to technical questions and actually support the surrounding people in the other teams in a good way, because that breeds trust and collaboration, cooperation, a nice like overall feeling within the office space. Have a great day.